For millions of people around the globe, there's simply nothing better than French cuisine. Ask French foodies about their favorite dish and you can expect a tortured monologue that can last for ages, a juicy magret de canard. Or a simple onion soup. What about the cheeses? And so on. What is it about French food that makes it so celebrated? Is it really so mind-blowingly delicious? In truth, most French cuisine enthusiasts don't merely cherish the taste of French food, but the culture that embodies it. But do you know how this cuisine came into being? The historical background of French food goes back to medieval times. During this era, French cuisine was fundamentally the same as Moorish cuisine. It was veiled in a manner called service en confusion, meaning that meals were served at the same time. During the 15th and 16th centuries, the French were influenced by the progressing culinary arts in Italy. Much of this happened because of Catherine de' Medici, who married Henry Duc d'Orléans, who brought her Italian cooks to France, introducing Italian culinary practices to the French court. Despite the fact that the culinary cultures of these two nations are vastly different, the French owe a lot of their culinary advancement to the Italians and their innovations in the 1500s. The period between the 16th and 18th centuries was called the Ancien Regime, and during this time Paris was alluded to as a focal point of culture and activity, including culinary activity. During this period, distribution was managed by the city government as societies, and these organizations set up confinements that permitted certain food businesses to work in assigned regions. The restrictions set up by societies hampered the advancement of culinary arts during this time, by limiting certain gourmet experts to allotted territories. During the 17th and 18th centuries, there was an advancement in haute cuisine, or simply, high cuisine, and its origins can be discovered in the recipes of a gourmet specialist named Le Varenne. He was the writer of what is referred to today as the first, true French cookbook. Not similar to the cooking styles of medieval times, his cookbook had new recipes which concentrated on modest and less extravagant meals. It was a popular trend all throughout the historical background of French food, which concentrated on the ingredients in the food. The French Revolution had a big impact on the food industry, as it instigated the fall of guilds which allowed French cooks to create, as well as serve, any kind of food product they wished. This led to a type of enlightenment inside the French food industry. The cooks started to explore different avenues regarding the types of ingredients and cultivation of meals. In the late 19th century and mid-20th century there started modernization of haute cooking. Much of this new food owes its improvement to Georges Escoffier-Auguste, who was a chef and a proprietor of numerous restaurants, and in addition, a culinary writer. A lot of Escoffier's strategies in modernizing haute cooking were drawn from the formulas invented by Marie-Antonie Carême, a pioneer of grande cuisine. By streamlining Carême's formulas and also including his own particular touches, Escoffier was able to discover a modern-day French cuisine. France is the second largest country in Europe. Much of the country is surrounded by mountains. The climate and soil of France create good conditions for farming. Although only 4% of the French people earn their living from farming, the country is self-sufficient when it comes to growing its own food. They have always been proud of their sophisticated way of cooking. Fertile soil provides fresh fruits, vegetables, herbs, grains, and meat nearly year-round. The soil is also suitable for growing grapes, which are used for making some of the finest wines in the world. Food and alcohol play important roles in French society. The way a person eats often reflects their French heritage, region of birth, social status, and health. The French diet can be summed up in one sentence: eat small portions of high-quality foods less often. In France, food is sacred. When preparing a dish, the freshest, best quality ingredients one can afford are chosen. Before anyone eats a bite, the table is laid with care. Even if it's just a simple lunch during the meal, people put away their phones and no one watches the clock. Eating is a celebration of both the food before you and the company around you. It is this reverence for food that many lovers of French cuisine value as much as the food itself. There is no typical French meal. Although people often use the broad label French cuisine to describe French food, most French dishes are region-based and thus vary depending on where you are located. The main exception is breakfast foods. For breakfast, the French often eat tartine, a slice of bread, usually a baguette, smothered with a fruity jam. This is sometimes accompanied by yogurt and a croissant, and almost always accompanied by coffee, hot chocolate or orange juice. On weekends, it's common to pick up freshly made viennoiserie from the bakery, croissants, pain au chocolat, chocolate croissants, pain aux raisins and more. Lunchtime meals vary by region. But one thing that typifies the French lunch is its length. A few decades ago, lunches were akin to mini dinners, lasting for hours. These days, French lunches are shorter, but are still leisurely sit-down affairs that last about an hour. True, in some big cities like Paris, a few people may commit the sacrilege of hastily eating a sandwich. But for the majority of French people, lunch is a highly valued moment to take a break from work and socialize with peers and friends over good food. For dinner, it entirely depends on the household. The younger and single folks will opt for a simple one-dish meal like frozen pizza or pasta because frozen foods are trendy across France. The folks with families will prepare a full dinner, i.e. a 4-course meal which is served as follows: entree, the appetizer, plat, main course, fromage, cheese, and dessert. Sometimes there is also a salad course, which would follow the main course. If both fish and a meat course are being served, the fish would come before the meat. Bread and wine are the two most common things on the table. Not all people drink wine at the time of dinner, but a glass of wine is pretty common in entree. Alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks are served along with small appetizers, such as nuts or olives, to stimulate the appetite. And in digestive, guests are served drinks with a high alcohol percentage, such as whiskey, bourbon or a liqueur, to aid digestion. But to truly get to know French food, you have to know the regions. Despite the hoity-toity reputation that many French dishes have, most have humble origins, not created for kings, but for farmers and laborers. Now famous regional specialties were largely based on the local products that were available at that time. Let's take a look at the cuisines from some of France's most popular food regions. The Lyonnaise cuisine. Lyon, France's third largest city, is the natural place to begin an examination of French food. The city is so renowned for its outstanding cuisine that it's referred to as the gastronomic capital of the world. Home to nearly 2,000 restaurants, it has produced some of France's most famous and innovative chefs, including the legendary Paul Bocuse, who popularized Nouvelle cuisine. Traditional Lyonnaise cuisine is hearty, stick-to-your-bones fare that should be avoided by vegetarians or anyone who prefers eating light. The cuisine often features chicken and duck and offal from a variety of animals. The adventurous eater will enjoy dishes such as salade de foies de volailles, tête de veau, or tripes à la lyonnaise. The Provençal cuisine, in contrast to the heavy fare of Lyon, in Provence food seems feather light. Provence is a region in the south of France, known for its lavender fields and olive groves. The cuisine is distinctly Mediterranean, featuring plenty of fish, vegetables, olive oil, garlic and herbs. The region's most famous dish is probably bouillabaisse, a fish stew that comes from Marseille. Coming in second for best known is likely ratatouille, a vegetable casserole made of tomatoes, zucchini, aubergines, onions, peppers, garlic and a healthy dose of olive oil. The Normandy Brittany cuisine. On France's northwestern coast, you'll find the regions of Normandy and Brittany. Each have their distinctive dishes, but being so close to the ocean, both are known for having excellent and huge variety of seafood and shellfish. Beyond seafood, you'll find plenty of apples in Normand cuisine and products, such as poulet valet d'age, chicken roasted with apples, tarte aux pommes, apple tart, and brandy. Normandy, dairy country, is also known for its excellent cheeses, most notably the famed camembert. Brittany best stands out for its crepes. If one ever visits France, they should never miss French food festivals. These French food celebrations are among some of the best festivals celebrated in France, and are likely to make your vacation even more memorable. Some of which are as follows: the Sarlat Truffle Festival. In the midst of the January, post-Christmas slump, this unique food festival is a surefire way to shake off the blues. The Truffle Festival takes place in Sarlat, in the Dordogne region, and is dedicated entirely to hunting, harvesting and cooking this emblematic mushroom. Menton Lemon Festival. Provence's annual Lemon Festival is one of the strangest, wackiest food festivals in France. Each February, this vibrant celebration of citrus fruit brightens up the French Riviera, with themed street parades, brightly decorated floats, gargantuan lemon sculptures and stunning sound and light shows. Here are some commonly consumed food in France.